I talk to people about Disneyland Paris all the time, and what most of them bring up is they're worried about queues. They say, do you have tips for avoiding queues? Is there a way of skipping the queues? And people who've never been and never want to go say, I'm not spending all that money on a holiday just to stand in a queue. Well, it's time that we have a talk about it. Let's chat about queues. Let's cut to the chase. Will you have to wait in queues? Yes. Sorry about that, but you will. Will it be a hellish experience of boredom and drudgery? No, it needn't be. You can still have an amazing magical time in spite of the queues, and in some cases even because of the queues. You can also get on some amazing attractions and experiences without any queue whatsoever, and it needn't even cost you any more money. Now, why have I brought up money? Well, the reason I've chosen today to make this video and have this talk about queues is this week Disneyland Paris have launched their new Premier Access Ultimate. And what is this? It is a line skipping scheme where for €90 on a weekday or €140 on a weekend, you can get instant access to 12 of the top attractions at Disneyland Paris. No need to book a time slot, no need to join a virtual queue. You just turn up at each of those rides, once each, and you can get straight to the front of the queue. I know what everyone's thinking. Is it worth it? And the answer is yes. I mean, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? If you get this, you are going to have an amazing day. You're going to go to Disneyland Paris, you're going to knock out all the rides with no queues. But, I mean, €140 a day? You know, for a family of four, that's well in excess of €500 a day. On top of what you've already paid in park tickets and hotels and your transport and your food, adding that on, is it really worth that? I mean, for some of you, you're going to be at the income level where you're like, yeah, I've got that in the budget. Let's throw some money at the situation, in which case, fantastic. You're going to have an amazing time. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. You can turn it off now and go and gold plate your nails or something. But for me and most people, that it's just not in the budget. It's just not an option. So then it makes people panic. Oh, if I don't buy this really expensive add-on, am I going to have a miserable, horrible time where I'm in queues while all the rich people are all swanning past me riding the ride? Well, look, I really want to put your mind at rest. It needn't be like that at all. You're in Disneyland Paris. You can have an amazing time. And whilst I can't talk for your financial situation or what your priorities are when you're spending money to go, I can say that while this service is fabulous, it's not necessary. And I'm going to talk you through why I think that is. And then if there is room in your budget, there's also some smaller spending options to skip the queues that might enhance your day just a little bit. Now, I know what everybody wants. They want a magic pill, similar to the Premier Access Ultimate, where I can just give you, 10 tips of skipping the queues, and that's it. You just follow those steps and you'll have a fantastic time. I'm not going to do that kind of video this time. I do like to do list videos and tips videos, but this is more a kind of holistic chat about what queues are, how they work, what to expect when you get there, and how to make the most out of the experience. So I think the first place we need to start is how the queues work and how the rides work in relation to the queues. First of all, there's this natural presumption that the rides with the longest queues are the best rides in Disneyland Paris, and the ones with the shorter queues are the least popular, worst rides, and that just isn't the case. And the reason is how the lines work and why they're the length they are. So you've got two distinct categories of rides. You've got your Omnimover rides, that if you think of a conveyor belt in a factory, it just doesn't stop moving. There's ride vehicles on the conveyor belt. You get on the ride vehicle while the vehicle's still moving, pretty much the way you'd get on a on a ski lift. Yeah, it keeps moving, you hop on it. There's those kind of rides, and then there's batch load rides. Now, the ultimate batch load ride would be something like the spinning teacups. Okay, so 40 people get on, it spins for 2 minutes and then stops and they get off and another 40 people get on. I'm not sure of those numbers, but it's about that. In between, you have to wait. Doesn't go continuously, it goes in bursts. Now, most of the rides will be theoretically batch loading rides, but they also aim for something called continuous loading. And that's where maybe on Pirates of the Caribbean, you've got a boat that will fit 25 people in it. But as soon as that boat goes, another boat goes in and another boat goes in. So they are loading pretty much continuously, despite it being in individual vehicles. This affects how long the wait times are and how your wait experience will be. And it affects ride capacity. Ride capacity is how many guests they can get through the ride in the space of an hour. And just to give you an idea of the differences, It's a Small World has got a ride capacity of about 3,000 guests per hour, whereas Dumbo only has a capacity of 900 guests per hour. Give you an idea of another couple, Peter Pan's Flight has got 1,200 guests per hour, so that's less than half of Small World, whereas Pirates of the Caribbean has got 4,500 guests per hour. So that's pretty speedy. Another thing that can affect the length of the wait is the Premier Access queue. So people going through that queue will always have priority over people in the regular standby queue. And so if you've got 20 people queuing in the Premier Access, they will load those 20 people before they take anyone from the standby queue. So if you've got a constant stream of people coming through the Premier Access queue, that is going to slow down the regular queue significantly. This won't affect all rides, and some rides will be affected a lot more than others. So why do I tell you all this? Well, it's because I think the key to enjoying the queues in Disneyland Paris is being mentally prepared for what you're going to expect and what they're going to be like. For me, it just really helps when I'm stood in a queue to have a proper understanding of why it's taking that length of time, exactly what I'm waiting for. It just helps my brain. And that leads me on to this. A lot of people have got these really negative ideas attached to queues. They're thinking queues at the post office, security queues at airports, just dirgy, dull, long-winded process. And Disney queues just aren't like that for two reasons. The Walt Disney Corporation is the world leading expert on queuing. Trust me, they know this is a thing. They do everything they can to make it pleasurable for you. They're experts in both the social engineering aspect of it, how you flow through a space and the speed that you flow through, but they're also experts in the entertainment. They want to make this interesting and enriching and immersive for you. And there are some fantastic queuing areas that are an actual attraction within themselves. Having said that, not all queues are created equal. Some have got these amazing enriching environments, but I'll be honest, some don't. And also, some will move forward quite swiftly and quickly and you won't even feel the queue happen, and others will feel a little bit more sluggish. Just to use an example, I've already mentioned the 4,500 capacity of Pirates of the Caribbean and the 900 capacity of Dumbo. I've also told you how Pirates of the Caribbean moves continuously, where Dumbo batch loads. Let's imagine that you arrive at the park and both of those are 25-minute waits. So you might think that's fairly equal waiting to do those two rides. But in my mind, if I go in the Pirates of the Caribbean queue, if it's sunny, it's air conditioned. If it's rainy, it's sheltered. And then they've got the Pirates of the Caribbean music playing in the queue. It's dark, you queue through caves and you walk forward continuously at a slow pace, but you keep walking forward. So it's almost like walking through a museum exhibition. And before you know it, there you are, you're at the ride, you haven't even felt the wait. Contrast that with Dumbo and what you're basically waiting for there. Let's say that the Dumbo circuit takes about 2.5 minutes, and then you've got to unload all the guests and reload all the guests. It will take about 5 minutes. So if you're looking at a 25-minute wait, you're waiting for 5 other lots of guests to do a full ride of the ride before it'll be your turn. So that means that you're standing still, moving forward a bit, standing still for 5 minutes, moving forward a bit. And that feels a lot harder a queue experience because of the standing still. Also, because this is outside, yes, it's sheltered, but it might still be hot and a little bit rainy. And there isn't the immersive details. You can look around at Fantasyland, which is absolutely lovely, but it's not like being cocooned in a story the way you are with Pirates of the Caribbean. So, 25 minutes for each ride, vastly different experiences. Now, does that mean I would advise you not to go on Dumbo with a 25 minutes wait? No, it doesn't. But I would be counting the loads rather than the time. I would be going, oh, that's another load. We've probably only got 4 more to go. Oh, that's another load. Probably 3 more and then it's us. I would be planning entertainment for in that queue. And I would be maybe grab a snack or a drink before I get in that queue so that we can just enjoy it a little bit more as we wait for that ride, as opposed to Pirates of the Caribbean, where you don't need to do those extra things because it's an enjoyable experience within itself. So I just brought up the idea of how long would I wait for that ride, and would I ride that ride with that 25 minutes wait? And that's going to be what you're doing a lot as you go around the park. So it's quite important to know what each ride is worth waiting for. Now, I think all the attractions are fantastic and everyone's got different tastes, so I'm not going to tell you one ride is better than another. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that Big Thunder Mountain will regularly have a 75-minute wait. So if you walk past it and it says 45 minutes, you get on that. That's a good time. That's a good wait for Big Thunder Mountain. Whereas Small World, even on the busiest days, can get down to 5 or 10 minutes. So if you walk past Small World and it says 45 minutes, maybe give it a couple of hours and go back and see if the times come down. You shouldn't be waiting 45 minutes for Small World. If I'm talking to you now and I'm throwing these numbers out and you've never been to Disneyland Paris, this might seem like a lot. What I suggest you do is if you download the Disneyland Paris app, it's got all the live wait times on there. What is it now? It's kind of midday on a Friday. I could go on now and get a fair idea during term time what the wait times are like on a midday on a Friday. And then I could go on again tomorrow on Saturday and see if they're any different. And you just need to spend the few weeks leading up to your trips, just every so often when you remember, go on and have a little noodle at the wait times, get a fair idea of what the different wait times are so that when you arrive at Disneyland Paris, you'll know, oh no, oh that's a bit long for teacups. No, I'm going to wait till that goes down. And I know what you're going to ask me next. Are these wait times accurate? I'm just going to say pretty much yes. I mean, there's loads of anecdotes about Disney artificially inflating the wait times so that people will buy the Premier Access, and there's also stories of them making them artificially lower on really busy days so that people are more willing to join queues. In my experience, Disney do try and be accurate. So if you start trying to second guess whether or not that number you're seeing is what you'll wait, you'll drive yourself potty. The easiest thing to do is presume they're accurate, and you're more likely to get it to be 5 minutes under the posted wait time than you are for it to be significantly over. Bit of a sidebar with the wait times things. The one exception to that accurate wait time is right at the beginning of the day. If you get a big attraction such as Big Thunder Mountain, you might find that you rope drop it first thing in the morning and it's already at 60 minutes. Well, the truth is, it can't just go to 60 minutes like that. The first person in the queue has not waited 60 minutes. But what it is the cast members expect it to get to 60 minutes pretty quickly. So if you happen to be in that first batch of people, you might only wait 10 minutes. So don't be perturbed at 9:30 in the morning when you look and it's already at 60 minutes. It might not be. It probably isn't. It depends how quick you were getting there. So what's really happening when you decide whether or not to wait in a queue at a certain length is you're spending your time, aren't you? So when you're in the park, time is currency. Let's say that you've just got 2 days in the park and that you plan on going from 9 till 6. That gives you about 18 hours to spend in the park, or 1,080 minutes. And so you need to think, including all the wandering around and the shopping and the food and the meals, how am I going to spend this time? So you've got your 1,080 minutes to spend. You need to decide what's a fair price. So I'm just going to do a really quick rundown of roughly what things usually are, but you can work this out for yourself if you go on the app and look. So rides that you can generally get on in 20 minutes or less include It's a Small World, Casey Jr., the Storybook Boat Ride. Of course, all this depends on whether it's bank holidays and weekends and things like that. Cars Quattro Route Rally, Slinky Dog in Toy Story Land, and Indiana Jones. Me and Hugh argue about me calling it Indiana or Indiana. So what do you call it? Indiana? Indiana Jones. I can't guarantee these will be under 20 minutes, but they regularly are. Now then you've got your middle sets, and these are ones that will typically be 30 minutes or more, but at certain points of the day can dip right down under the 20 minutes. And that's Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Tours, Phantom Manor, Buzz Lightyear. And bear in mind that with some of them the queue is so long that if it says 5 or 10 minutes, most of that will just be walking through the queue, because it takes you that long to get through it. Now your big heavy hitters, the ones that are consistently going to have wait times upwards of an hour on busy days, are Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, Crusher's Coaster, Tower of Terror. If you're interested in these rides, this is where you just have to sort of bite the bullet and go, right, I'm committed to this. I'm getting in line, have a plan, make sure everyone in the group knows how long it's going to be. They're good attraction. Now, massive disclaimer about everything I'm telling you today. In a month and a half, Avengers Campus will open, and it will have 2 e-ticket rides in it, and the whole ecosystem of the attractions in the parks will get a little bit tipped sideways, and I don't know how it'll affect wait times. Some people are saying that those attractions will suck a lot of people out of the rest of the park, so other wait times will go down. I think that's unlikely, because the other theory is that having those big attractions will bring more people, the park will be generally busier, and all the wait times will go up. And long term, nobody knows. I will keep you informed and research the best I can. If you want to know about that, just subscribe to the channel, because we will be doing a lot of coverage of Avengers Campus when it comes up. So this brings me on to the meat of the conversation. This next point is, to me, super important, and the reason I decided to do this video. You can have fun in queues. This is what I need you to understand. Why have you gone to Disneyland Paris? For the Mickey Waffles. Yeah, I know. But apart from the Mickey Waffles, to have a fun, memorable, enjoyable experience with your family or your friends or your partner. And so what's the problem with standing in queues? What I'm trying to say is, when I go to Disneyland Paris, I usually go with my husband and my daughter, Hugh and Bonnie, and we are each other's favourite people. But Hugh works 9 till 5, I work 3 till 9, Bonnie goes to school all week, we have busy weekends, we just don't spend the amount of time together that we want to. So we're in Disneyland Paris, we're standing in a 45-minute queue for Big Thunder Mountain, and we're together. And we play 20 questions. We play the impression game where you have to do a quote from a Disney film and guess what character it is. We've also, as Bonnie's got older, we've started doing some of the more digital stuff, like we do the heads up thing on there. We play the schoolyard games, like we do this, that I don't know, what's that called? You know that game where you try and slap someone's hand? The bandit at our school, because people were getting a bit violent. Somebody tell me in the comments what you call that game. But we do that kind of thing, and we've made some amazing memories studying queues. We've had conversations with people near us. We've been playing these ridiculous animal noise games, and then other people from other families have joined in with our game. Then I've talked about the immersive experience. As we've gone through the Phantom Manor queue, we've been reading the gravestones and then trying to come up with spooky names of our own and just generally enjoying each other's company. When I've been with just adults, we've had really long, really good conversations in these queues. Again, I think it comes from people imagining standing there with trolleys in supermarkets, and that's what you think queues are. It's not like that. And if you can go in with that attitude, and also in that respect, be prepared. We've got some Disney trivia cards that we sometimes take with us. We've used them all now, so we've stopped taking them. And if you know you're getting in an outdoor queue that's quite long, you can take a snack or a drink in with you, have some snacks in your rucksack, have some little colouring thing. But don't think that that time is wasted. You can make magical memories in that queue, and you should. And yes, children are going to get whingy. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you're the parents, you usually know how you can distract them, what they need. Is it food? Is it drink? And you can prepare them in advance and say, look, if you don't think you want to do that, we can go and do something else right now. And that's brought me weaving on to another topic. Is there are lots of things to do without queues. Now, I don't recommend that you skip the things that need queuing, because in many cases they are fabulous attractions. But what is a good idea is to alternate a non-queuing experience with a queuing experience. So, for example, you can queue for Pirates of the Caribbean, and then when you come out, you can go for a run around Adventure Isle. You can explore the rope bridges, and you can go look at the Pirates Galleon before you decide it's time to then go in and get into a queue for Indiana Jones. I wouldn't recommend just going from e-ticket attraction to e-ticket attraction and queuing and queuing and queuing, because then you really are just spending all day standing around. Go to a sit-down restaurant, go in some shops, go explore this magical land that the Imagineers have created for you in between doing those longer queue attractions. If all that still seems too much queuing for you and I haven't managed to convince you it's fun and magical, there's always the option of Premier Access. Not Premier Access Ultimate, where you get all 12 and it costs you an arm and a leg, but just Premier Access, where you can buy single fast passes for single ride. They range from €5 for something like Phantom Manor up to €13 for something like Big Thunder Mountain. These can be bought in the park on the day, literally stood outside the ride, but they are for time slots. So I just looked now and it's about 10 to 12, and the next time slot for Star Tours is at 12:50. Big Thunder Mountain would be 1:10, Peter Pan's Flight would be 1:15. So they're usually quite close to the time. They're not hours in ahead, but they're not instantaneous. You have to wait for your time slot. Now, if you're going to do this, that's fine. It's less than doing the big ultimate package, but I suggest you do it quite tactically. I suggest you maybe wait till the last day of your trip to see what you haven't queued for. You know, when you know that the train is coming at 4 o'clock and it's 1 o'clock and you still haven't ridden Space Mountain, that might be a time to do it. I know a lot of people choose to do it last thing at night just to try squeeze a couple of extra rides in. I wouldn't plan in advance to be spending that money. I would get there and see and try your best to do it with the regular standby queues, because I don't believe they're as arduous as you think they are. And if you get to the end of your trip and you've had enough and you've done hundreds of queues and you just don't want to do one more, by all means, get the Premier Access. There's so much more I could tell you about queues at Disneyland Paris, but I just don't want this video to get too long. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do an actual tips video. I know that's what you want. Which ride to go for first, which ones to do in early magic hours, that kind of thing, to help you get the most of your day. But I wanted to do this one first because I didn't want just thinking that turning up for Big Thunder Mountain first thing in the day will substitute knowing how it works and the magical time that you all have. I also think I'd like to kind of do a video where I go through each queue and tell you what they're like, which ones are slow moving, which ones are quick moving, which ones have good theming, which ones have got millions of switchbacks so they get a bit more boring. I don't want to say the worst queues in Disneyland Paris, but I probably mean the worst queues when I talk about that. So let me know if you're interested in either of those, and then that'll help me decide which one I do first or whether I bother doing them at all. But in the meantime, if you're planning a trip to Disneyland Paris and that's why you're watching this video, oh, you can have an amazing time, and I'm just so jealous of you, particularly if it's your first trip. If you've been lots of times to Disneyland Paris like me, I hope I've just kind of tried to remind you of some of the magic. If you enjoy talking Disneyland Paris, we have a weekly podcast that goes live right here on YouTube at 8:30 every Sunday. You can join us in the live chat. We always love to grow our community. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.